Hi everybody, we are going to do our gnocchi now, okay? So if you're not sure what gnocchi is a potato dumpling. It's an Italian dish. It involves potato, a little bit of egg, some flour, some salt and pepper, and that's it. It's really quite simple. And then you can toss it in any pasta sauce that you want. You can toss it in a cream sauce, tomato, pesto, just an olive oil. I think I'm going to do ours with a brown butter sauce today, but it's pretty straightforward. So the way you prep your potatoes, and you can use leftover potatoes for this is perfect. So the way you prep your potatoes is you roast them in the oven, just like a baked potato, and you want to use baked potatoes or russet potatoes for this. Roast them in the oven just like you would a baked potato, and when you're done, you can peel the skin when they're still warm and then pass them through a ricer, which I'm going to have one here. This is a potato ricer here. You can get smaller ones as well. But I'm going to show you how to do gnocchi if you don't have a ricer, because I mean not many people have one. Okay? You can let your potato cool overnight, and then we're going to run it through these small holes of a cheese grater. I'm going to try it. It's going to be you got to be really gentle with this, but anyway, it does work. You can see I almost have potato rice there, and we're going to just grate all that through this cheese grater. Okay, and when we're done, we'll start building our gnocchi. Okay, so we have our potato out on the table here. It's all grated. I just want to mention quickly that this recipe is actually from the Ritz-Carlton in Toronto. We went on a field trip back in 2019, April or May of 2019, and the executive chef gave us a tour and showed us how to make gnocchi, and so we've been using this recipe ever since because it turned out really well. It was delicious. So this is a Ritz-Carlton Toronto gnocchi recipe. Okay, and I'm going to post it on the conference. So 2 russet potatoes, baked. Okay, and then de-skinned. You bake it with the skin on, then you take the skin off. You can let it cool and grate it through a box grater, or you can peel it when it's still hot, throw it through a ricer. Okay, I have 133 grams of flour here, which translates into about a cup. Okay, so if you don't have a scale, you can use a cup. Okay, and we use 1 egg yolk as well. Okay, so I'm going to take my egg, I'm going to crack it. Okay, I'm going to put my egg yolk there in the center. I'm going to salt this a little bit. I'm going to salt the flour. And I'm going to pepper the flour. Okay, and I'm going to throw it through a sieve. This is just to get it evenly distributed. Okay, so it's about a cup of flour to 2 russet potatoes that have been baked. Okay, and then now you're just going to get in there, you're going to break up that egg, and we're going to start moving it around and kind of incorporating it into a dough. Okay, the thing about gnocchi is you don't really want to overmix it. If you overmix, the more you mix, the more gluten you develop, as you probably know already, and the tougher your gnocchi is going to get. So we're going to start kneading this, and we're just going to knead it until it starts to kind of come together, and then we can form it into a ball. Okay, so this is a nice little thing you could do at home if you don't want to make the fresh pasta. If you don't have the ingredients, you can make gnocchi very easily, and you do not need any specialized ingredients. Okay, all you need is a couple of potatoes, a cup of flour, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Okay, so I have a beautiful gnocchi dough ball, and that's kind of what I want. It's coming together, it's not too dry. I haven't kneaded the life out of it. I am going to knead a little bit more because it's still... Okay, and there it is. All right, so I'm going to go grab a pasta cutter, and I'll be back in 1 second. I'm going to wash off my hands as well. Alright, so we have our dough cutter here. At this point, we have a beautiful smooth ball. I'm going to cut this in half. Okay, you can see that I haven't really developed a lot of gluten there. It's very soft. It's like a pillow. Okay, I have to get some flour as well. Sorry. Alright, so we have our flour. We're going to flour our surface. We're going to flour our hands really well. Okay, and we're going to we want to roll this out now into a very long kind of tube. Got to be kind of gentle with it. If it starts to fall apart, because it is very tender, we're just going to put it back together. Okay, we're going to get a really nice long tube. We want it to be even, because we want it to cook evenly. Alright, so we're almost there. Our tube is looking pretty good. Okay, if you see a fat spot, just put a little bit of pressure on it. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, flour. And then we're going to cut. Square these edges off here. Okay, and then we're going to cut into pieces about like so. Okay, so we're trying to go even. Okay, and then we have our beautiful little gnocchis there. We're going to do a couple of different things with them. We could leave them just like that if we wanted. We could put a little thumbprint in the middle if we wanted. We're going to roll them on some fork tines. But I'm just going to continue on cutting and rolling these and getting them all set up. Nice tube here. Square the ends off again. And then we're just going to cut more gnocchi. So I'm going about, it's probably about 3/4 of an inch, half an inch. You make them as big or small as you like. I like this size because I find they cook nice and evenly and quickly, and they're just a good bite-sized piece. Okay, so we have our gnocchi here. So now we're going to do two different things. We have a gnocchi board here. This actually is specifically made for doing gnocchi. So all you do is you take your finger, you push and you twist, okay, and you push down and you roll. Okay, so there's our gnocchi. Push down and roll. And this creates beautiful little, I don't know if you can see that, there are little divots here that are perfect for holding sauce. Okay, the other thing you could do, you do not need any fancy mechanism. You could just use a fork and just go down the tines of a fork. Okay, go over here. Okay, they're a little bit bigger, but you have beautiful gnocchi that way too. Okay, so I'm going to keep on using this board though. Okay, and we're just going to create a whole bunch of these little potato dumplings. Okay, so the nice thing about this, if you do it like this, you have these crevices here to catch the sauce, and then you have this little thumbprint back here which also catches sauce. So, alright folks, so there's our gnocchi all ready to go. It's well floured, it's on a sheet tray with parchment paper, and we are ready to go. You could throw this in the freezer and freeze it and then bag it afterwards, and you can have gnocchi anytime you want, or you can cook this from scratch, or you can cook this from fresh and whip up a delicious pasta dish. Okay everybody, so today we're going to do our gnocchi. We have our butter in the pan. So I do want to mention, we have tomato sauce, we have cream sauce, we have pesto, but you could also do pasta or a gnocchi with an olive oil or a butter sauce. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a brown butter sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this butter, I'm going to cook it until the brown, till the milk solids in the butter start to brown. And what happens is you get this really kind of nutty, caramelly kind of aroma. But it's a little bit tough to brown this butter because it goes from brown to black very quickly. So you really have to watch it. So we're going to turn it down to low. Okay, and we're going to cook this out, and what will happen is you'll start to see kind of some foam starting to happen, and then the milk solids are going to start to brown, and this is going to totally change into a beautiful brown butter sauce. I'm going to add some sage to this, sage leaves, because we are doing a brown butter sage sauce, and this is a beautiful fall dish or winter dish. We're going to get all the aroma of the sage in there. Okay, and that's going to go really nice with our gnocchi. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but you can see kind of the foam happening there. And when you see that foam happening and it's really starting to get brown around the edges, we know that our brown butter sauce is pretty much done. We're going to turn off the heat, and we're going to let that hang out until our water's ready. Alright, so our pasta water is boiling pretty vigorously, and that's what you need. We're going to throw in a good pinch of salt, because that's how we're going to season our gnocchi and our pasta. I've already loaded up some gnocchi on this spider. We're going to toss that in. We're going to move it around and let that boil for about 2 minutes. Now, the beautiful thing about gnocchi is it has an automatic timer. As soon as it floats, it is good to go. Alright, so our gnocchi is boiling here. It's floating, I should say. It is ready to go. We're going to take those out, strain them. Now, I like to have a little bit of crust on my gnocchi in some situations. You can serve this two ways, right out of the pot and into a sauce, or you can throw a little bit of a crust on it. Okay, so I do want to put a crust on it, so I am going to saute this gnocchi in a little bit of olive oil, okay, just to get a bit of a crust on it. Okay, so I've got my nice little bit of crust, so I'm going to move back over to my brown butter. Okay, throw my gnocchi in there. The reason I sauteed in the olive oil first is because it has a higher smoking point. The butter's already brown, so if I sauteed the gnocchi to get it brown in there, into the brown butter, I would burn the butter for sure. So I'm just going to kind of heat this through. And this is a beautiful thing. So let's plate this up. That's our finished gnocchi and brown butter sage sauce. Alright, so there it is. Now this just smells like autumn. Got the crispy sage leaves, beautiful gnocchi. Okay, we're going to put a little fresh grated Parmesan cheese on top, because that's how it has to be done. Okay. And a little fresh ground pepper. And there it is. There it is, gnocchi in brown butter sage sauce. Now let's show you a different way to do it. Alright, so we have some more gnocchi in the pot, boiling away, and I put some of our homemade tomato sauce and some of our homemade pesto in a pan. We're going to heat that up, and we're not going to crispen up the gnocchi now, so two different ways to do it. but both delicious. So with this pesto tomato sauce, because again I don't want the pesto to lose its vibrancy, I'm only going to cook this to heat it up. And as soon as the gnocchi's done, I'm going to toss it, and that's going to be it. Our gnocchi's floating. I'm going to take that out. Get it right into our sauce. Now our sauce can be anything, as I said. It can be tomato sauce, tomato pesto. It can be cream sauce, cream cheese sauce, like gorgonzola cream sauce. It's delicious with gnocchi, or obviously an Alfredo sauce. Let's plate this one up now. Again, we've got to have our freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Okay, and there's gnocchi two ways.